Okay guys, welcome back to the Team Ham channel. I'm here with Gloria Rivera, who played Nightmare Dolls at BSF Houston, making second place with her team. She definitely wanted to do this deck profile, as you can see. So without further ado, Gloria, it's all on you.
Alright, so the deck that I took for regionals for teams Day 2V Premium was Nightmare Dolls. They are actually my second Bane clan, which first is always going to be like Junker. But I decided to play with dolls this time around, not Messiah. But I want to try something different. And they're actually very fun to play with. So starting off for my grade 3s, I run 4 Carols. Of course, she's like the main Vanguard I want to be in, with her skill on her being placed on Vanguard, check top 5, add a record rate into the soul. And then if I put a grade 3 into soul, I can call it out as an attacker. Her second skill is, of course, when she sees a grade 3 record being put into soul, do her skill of count on the last one, discard 2 cards, and rewrite a record from my soul, which helps a lot, especially with the multi-attacking. Which basically that helps leads into Chelsea, which I only run 3 of her, which honestly I feel like 3 is enough, especially with this deck. Not 4. I mean, if anyone wants to play it, you can do 4, but I prefer 3. Her skill, of course, on Vanguard is after that she attacks, I kind of lost 1. I could call 2 records from my soul to rear guards, and it actually helps, especially if the opponent is in grade 3. Then she gives them grade 3 or higher. She gives them a 10k higher. If they're grade 2, they're just other ones. Her other skill on rear guard is that whenever after she attacks, she goes to soul, and then I may put a rear guard of the opponents into soul, which she helps trigger Carol, and then that helps. One thing with Carol that I try to do and to set up before I hit my grade 3 is that I try to add her to have another one in soul, so that way I could do like a loop, which I will discuss that with other units that help with that. So that way I could do Carol, depending on how many Carol blocks that I have. If I have more, then I could do more, so with my soul. Do more loops, Carol, and then Chelsea, more attacks. Of course, every single time, lose -1 drive, but that tends to help. Especially if I'm facing against Force, which I've faced a lot of Force decks this regionals. It helps them either guard with at least 1 pass or no, whatnot. Then that helps get some card over their hands. And of course, I run 4 Alice's in my decks, which again,
pretty.
Oh yes, try not to get out. Which again helps with the multi-attacks. I really don't prefer her to be as my Vanguard, since I can't really do as many multi-attacks, so I try to keep her as my rear guards. But there were some situations where she had to be my backup grade 3. Which, there are times it hurts, but, what can I do? Work with what I got.
That's right.
So of course her skill is after when she swings, after she ends, counter boss 1, soul boss 1, put her in soul, and then call a Rookeroid that's not a grade 3 into rear guard. So these are my grade 3 lineups. Basically, I run 11 grade 3s for my Rookeroids. So these are my grade 3s.
The other 2 SP Chelsea's coming soon.
Yes, try and find them. Try to complete it. So,
alright.
This is my grade 3 lineup.
And if I can ask real quick, what seat were you in again?
I was in seat B.
B. Okay.
You for my matchups for seat B, I faced 1 Jewel Knights. I faced 3 Messiahs, 1 D Police, 1 Luard, and 1 Yasue. So
wow, that is definitely a lot of force.
Yes. I lost, so out of my own personal record with this deck in Swiss round, I only lost 2 out of the 7, which is, I lost to Yasue. Sometimes I was great stuck, but I still won. So I could tell if you want to say I tend to put a GSS theory, so even if you GSS, there's still a chance for you to win. So on my mindset, I always say like, it's okay, GSS, it doesn't mean I have to give up. I just gotta still keep playing. That's my mindset.
Very good mindset.
Which tends to help, because you can still win. I proved that many times. And the second one I lost to was D Police. I just can't beat the whole force and big numbers. Boom, you know.
Yeah.
Like
Deep-place things.
Deep-place things, yes. That was one. Surprised to be Luard, but
Hey,
that's what happened.
we'll take those.
And then, of course, bought 3 Messiahs. So, good thing is, since Link Joker is my main clan, I know how to fight them.
That definitely helps, especially playing with Nightmare Dolls.
Yes.
So what do we got for grade 2s?
So, for my grade 2s, I'm running 4 Maristas.
Okay.
As you can see. Her is, I love her a lot just because she helps set up my soul. Her skill is also Vanguard and Vanguard effect, so it's only on placement from hand. I put a card from my hand into soul. I check top 7, and I could add 2 non-grade 2 Workerites, which is anything that's not a grade 2, honestly. Workerites, and add it to my hand, which she can help me, of course, get hand and also get card pieces, which helps a lot. So that she's also great for that. I love her. My other favorite card in this deck for grade 2 is my 4 Rhodas.
Oh, interesting. Please explain.
So I run 4 Rhodas because honestly, she's my powerhouse. So her skill is on rear guard is whenever she's placed. She gets 2k for every other worker raid. She does not count for herself. But depending on how many worker raids I have on the field, then that's a big power up booster. Because during the tournament, sometimes depending like say, like I said, a grade 3, Chelsea comes in hand. Chelsea's skill, when she's my main guard, call them, which she gives them 10k, especially if the opponent's grade 3 or higher. And then plus their additional power and when they're placed. So there are times when they're receiving more than 30k.
Can confirm, that hurts.
So you've seen from more than 30k, and some people don't expect that power up number, especially for Nightmare Dolls. Kalvin, so especially Nightmare Dolls. So she's my powerhouse. Another grade 2 I run is this card right here. Now what she does is I just have her there. For her skill is basically whenever she is placed, I can counterblast 1. Oh, whenever she swings, counterblast 1, I put a worker into soul, draw a card, and she gives herself plus 10 power. So I have her here just in case if I need to do if I need to put a grade 3 in soul, if I don't have either Chelsea or Alice, or if I have another Carol in my rear guard, I can do her skill to put the Carol Carol rear guard into soul and activate Carol's skill. But she's only there. Other than that, she's like my little discard fodder. But my mains are these right here. She's just there.
The 4/4s. So then a quick question. I'm pretty sure other Pale Moon Nightmare Doll enthusiasts would like to ask. If she wasn't such a big deal for you, would you suggest a certain Nightmare Doll or other card to replace her? Maybe would have helped you out during the tournament, maybe?
If they make more cards. If they made more Nightmare Doll cards, then yeah, but I think she's a good backup plan option. Especially if you don't see like the other card pieces, she's really good. I'll just keep her at 2, honestly. Just a backup. But if they made like another better worker ride, you know, for me, then if it's better, then I'll replace her. But she's good.
All right. And then my other follow-up question would be, you don't think that running a 3/3 would be better? You felt that the 4 and the 2 worked just fine for you?
Oh yes, running a 4/2 works fine for me because I want to swing for numbers, especially with this deck. Since I know Lucia, they have numbers, but with Nightmare Dolls, like I said, this card is my powerhouse. So I'd rather run her at maximum 4, so that way I can keep adding her into soul, and then I keep swinging her for numbers. Because most opponents don't expect those high numbers.
Right, especially from Nightmare Doll.
Yeah, especially during this weekend. Not people expected the whole power. I was like, what?
Yeah, well, it makes sense to me.
Yeah, this is my great tools.
And now to the ones.
Now for the ones. So for my ones, I run 4 Abigails. Her skill, of course, she's also a good ride grade 1 on placement on Mega Arcus Soul Charge 1, which can help, it's a blind soul charge. It can probably help with key piece. Her other skill is at the end of turn, if I have her ride as my main guard, I can retire her to get a grade 3 worker ride from my soul, add it to hand, and then I can counter charge. So she's a good counter charger, but also good for that. She's another good thing I use her for is, of course, the booster, but and counter charge and adding grade 3. So in case if I don't have another Carol in my hand to re-ride to get another Excel marker, I get her. Use her to get Carol from my soul, grade 3. And then another skill I use her too is just in case if my opponent goes to grade 3 before I do run, which you will see the grade 3 heal triggers. So let's say if I'm able to soul charge a grade 3 heal trigger into soul, I can use her skill then my turn to get her into my hand, so that way I can use like the +10 or the minus double crit. So it helps. So that way I will go. I love damage, but I don't want to go too much by damage. It helps. So that's another tactic I use her for as well. And it helps for great with that, especially if I don't go first.
Because the grade 3 is a workeroid.
The grade 3 is a workeroid.
Yeah, so the grade 3 heal is a workeroid, so you can use her to add it back to hand to get the heal guard defense.
Yes.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
So that's another thing.
And how often did that come up during the tournament?
For this tournament, not as much, but a few times. Especially a few times, but not as much. Other times it does. It does help. Okay, that's it for that one. And then of course, my other grade 1, I run for Edith. When she is basically the grade 1 version to Rhoda, whenever she's placed out, she gets to give her every other workeroid. So again, she is my other powerhouse. So her and Rhoda, grade 2, grade 1, these are my powerhouse cards. Swing for numbers. That grade 1 can do a lot of work. Especially have a lot more. Of course, you gotta remember, as if I have as many workeroids out on the field, that means more power-ups.
Right.
So, let's do that. And then my last ones I run for grade 1s is my 4 Toscas, the promo card.
Oh, okay.
So basically what this girl comes in a lot. So basically what she does, she's Vanguard Vanguard, is whenever she's placed from hand, I search top 5. I can put any workeroid from the top 5 into soul and shuffle my deck. So she helps, especially setting up my soul, and of course it's kind of like playing solitaire.
As Jesse likes to say it.
Playing solitaire, and like again, her and Marissa, awesome duo. Awesome duo. Especially if I do Marissa's skill and I see her, I try to get both of them into my hand and then call so I can keep setting up my soul and of course setting up my boosters for my 2 regards or backup. Okay. So this card helped me out a lot, especially with setting up my soul whenever I see her, because I don't want her there.
Nice. And then I just want to point out one cool combo that I've seen like you do a lot with this grade 1. Is I've seen you do her, put the Heal Guardian into Soul, and then using her to add that Heal Guardian to your hand. So I thought that was a cool interaction that you could do.
Yes. Actually, that interaction helped me out thanks to Jesse and James. Jesse and James. They actually helped me with that combo. Like, hey, you want that? I'm like, you know what? That worked out. Because it actually does help with that combo, especially if I will go first. And if my opponent goes to grade 3 first, and if I don't want to go too much high damage, even though Nightmare do love damage, that helps out a lot.
Okay, cool.
Especially with that, since
right.
Not overkill. So these are my grade 1s.
Okay.
So basically all for us.
Yep, 4, 4, 4. Easy.
Easy, right? Easy peasy.
That's such a nice playmat.
And now for my zeros, of course, I run the 4 Hero Guardians.
There they are.
These are the girls, especially help with Abigail's skill. And then also the workeroids too. Now, there was a time to where in one of the games that I played in this past weekend is that for Carol's skill, whenever, I needed to keep doing more attacks against my opponent, there was a time to where I did Carol's skill attack top, 5 to add a workeroid. I did see her, because I didn't want to see other triggers. So I did put her in soul, and I did call her out as an extra attacker.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So she is a grade 3.
That is true.
She is a grade 3. So there was one point in one of the games that's why I did her, because I want to keep swinging, at my opponents if they were like up 4 or 5 damage.
That's cool.
So she also helps for that. I'm like, there's no point in me healing, so I might as well just keep going.
Hey, if it works, it works. Go ham.
No. Of course, in this deck, I run.
Ooh, front focus.
Yes, I run 6 fronts in this deck, since this deck actually helps with, well, many fronts, especially for helping with powers, especially for my rear guards, which that can hurt. Even though it's not crits, I mean, that's more cards, especially if you're already at high damage. That's more power for my rear guards and more, perhaps more cards for you to guard with if you don't have no defense triggers.
Good to know.
So, and then the last ones, that's not it. Now in this deck, I did change it up a little bit, because I used to run all fronts, but I did change it up. So of course I run 3 draw PGs.
Okay.
And then I do run a crit sentinel.
Ooh, spicy.
Spicy, yes. And then of course, the last 2 is I run 2 crits. Now, like again, before I used to have this deck running at all fronts. There's nothing but fronts, draws, and heals. But they see suggestions from my team member, James. He's like, why not run crits? Because not many people expect it, which actually, that is a fact. Not many people expected those 3 crits, and which they do come in handy. There are moments where they keep some handy that some people were not expecting it. The crit sentinel, that actually helped me out a lot in this game this past weekend, especially against Thor. And other decks, so for high numbers, the plus 30 mattered. It actually did. So that actually is card saved my ass.
Yeah, using crits to keep your opponent honest.
Yeah, and of course, yeah. So yeah, that's actually helped me out. So basically, this is my trigger lineup.
Okay.
And of course, my starter is nothing but Silthorn.
Ah, yes, and it's pretty too.
Assistantly, yeah, thanks to good friend Pablo. Shout out to Pablo.
Shout out to Pablo.
Yes, he actually gave me this SP, so I love it. And one thing that I actually found kind of funny is that during this past week on regionals, whenever I flipped this on my starter, I think that many of my opponents thought I was playing Silver Thorns. And they're like, oh, Silver Thorns, okay. And then of course, whenever I wrote it into my grade 1, they're like, wait, that's not a Silver Thorn unit. I'm like, no. It helps trick my opponent. I'm like, no.
Nice.
I wish they had a doll one, but they don't have Nightmare Doll.
Maybe one day.
Yeah, only in Premier they have to start for Nightmare Dolls, but not in V. So yeah, so this is my deck profile for this weekend, which, like I said, my personal score was 2. I was 16, yeah. Lost twice in the Swiss round. Of course, I lost to the same Yachty player, damn it. But yeah, it is what it is. I mean, I have fun, so I had fun. And honestly, I mean, I just wanted to have fun, but, you know, a little bit competitive, I guess. But, I was actually surprised that I made it that far, especially with Nightmare Doll, because I know not many people see that, oh, Nightmare Dolls, they're very underrated. They're like, no, it's not the meta, it's a Pale Moon, like Silver Thorns. I'm like, no, I mean, like any deck, I mean, it needs its combo pieces and it can break. But when it goes off, it goes off.
Yeah, I can vouch
for that. It legitimately goes off, and it's actually a very strong deck.
Okay.
You know.
And if you don't mind me asking, do you mind talking about your top 8, 4, and 2 matches a little bit?
My 4 and 2?
So,
top 8.
Yeah, so top 8, I know you fought Vanquisher.
Yes, top 8, I fought Vanquisher. I fought against my lovely fiance, James. Top 8. We met each other in the battlefield. We were friends, but once the cards faced over, we were enemies. So I fought against Vanquisher top 8. Sadly, it's like that. I had to face against a team member.
Yeah.
But it happened. It is what it is.
Yeah.
So I did have practice against Vanquisher, so we did practice, you know, between us two. So I know what his deck did, and he knew what mine did. So I do believe in top 8 with him. I did 1 dice roll. Yes. So of course with my deck, I was actually able to see my key pieces, especially Abigail and of course my Tosca and whatnot. So I was actually playing solitaire against him.
Ain't that the truth?
I was playing solitaire, so I was setting up my soul because I already knew that I had to kill him before he kills me. So he had to face my onslaught and then whatnot. So for my first onslaught, I mean, I set up my board. Carol did the skills. I pushed him to, I think, 4 damage. Yeah. 4 damage in my first grade 3 turn. Of course, it kind of sucked that he didn't see defense. that kind of, he saw 1, but
it didn't matter.
It hurt him. So After that, I had to survive his onslaught.
Yep.
And I already knew that if I don't survive this, I'm on that day. But, so, and then, after that,
Yep. You got it.
I got it. I got it. So I set up my Soul of War, and I had at least 5 Excel markers.
Yep.
So usually, when I play this deck, when it goes off, I do believe the max that I have of Excel markers is 5, maybe 6, but mainly 5. So that's a lot of attacks and a lot of power, especially.
Oh yeah.
So he was overpowered by dollies.
Yes.
The Vanquisher was the dollies.
Can confirm.
So my onslaught was a lot more than his.
What about your top 4? It was against Luard, right?
Top 4 I did place against a Luard player, which I was like, damn it, Luard. Which honestly, I didn't have as much practice with Luard. I just had like a few here and there for V, but I kind of knew what they did. I just have to do a little refresher. But for my Luard, it kind of sucked that he did have to, use this for grade 1. But other than that, I mean, he was still able to get his stuff. And I would just try to hold on to as many cards in my hand as defense, but at the same time, I was trying to, even though I do a lot of damage, I try to go not too much, just in case, if he goes off, then he swings for big numbers, especially with his grade 1s. But I was able to overpower him with my onslaught. Of course, Carol, keep writing it, and then when that one pass kind of, hurts people, especially if they're force numbers. I was able to get it. I was able to beat Luard also in my top 4. And then top 2, I have to fight against the same Yasuo player that I lost to. And sadly, I did lose to the Yasuo player. But it was a fun game. What happened is I had to GSS again. Honestly, I've been GSSing a lot in these regionals, but still, I didn't GSS, and also what kind of sucked is my deck kind of bricked, just because I didn't really see Carol as my grade 3. I mainly saw Chelsea or Alice, so I couldn't. For me, I felt like I couldn't put enough pressure on my opponent against Yasuo, so that gave him the upper hand to get a lot, doing his skills, and then getting a lot of hand to not block everything. Of course, the minus and putting in -7, so that hurt me a lot. But it is what it is. He's like, I'm sorry, it's okay. I told him, honestly, dude, like, I'm happy that I made it to top 2, especially with this deck, this underrated deck. I'm happy I made it top 2, and I told him, in my mind, I'm like, if my deck did not give me the grade 3 I need, that's fine. I just gotta work with what I got. I mean, I get that most decks, you have like your main stuff, or your what do they call it, your optimal cards, your optimal rides, whatnot. I get it. I mean, you have those, but I think that, in my opinion, I feel that people need to think that, I get it, that you have that optimal play, but also what you gotta think about is, what if you don't get that optimal play? You gotta work with what you got. So you gotta practice. And you gotta practice with your backups and see what other, because there are times, I think one of the games to where in Swiss round, I don't remember which one, but I did not see Carol. I had to go to, it was against Luard, I do believe. I did my backups, I still got it.
Damn.
I ran into my backups. I mean, it was kind of hard, it was annoying, but I'm like, you know what, I still gotta do what it does. I know what my deck does. So I need to do as best as I can. So I think that's one thing that I think everyone should think about is, even if you don't have that, then you need to practice with your other cards, because there's not only just one answer. There's many different ones, and you just gotta practice and learn it. So just because you don't see what you want, don't say I already lost, because that mentality right there, then you already lost the mental game. You don't do that to yourself. Just like, you know what, that's fine. I need to do the best I can and do this.
What a strong message to give out there on your deck profile.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I guess I changed my fiance. Like, that was my mentality during this game, like during this whole event. I mean, that's usually my mentality. Like, if I don't see what I need, then that's fine. If I'm on backups, then
Find an answer.
I need to find an answer. I need to basically think outside the box. Like, just because there's cards like meta, I mean, that's fine. But, I mean, come on. Underhand deck can beat the meta of the decks, you know. You just gotta know your matchups.
Yeah, well said. Well, thank you so much, Gloria, for doing this beautiful quick show.
Yeah.
Thank you for doing this deck profile. I know this is, I believe this is your first one that you've done where you're on camera.
Yeah. Oh, another thing too, I forgot to mention is for the marker, I mainly run XL2. I don't go to XL1 just because XL2. Last note is it helps me, of course, with drawing a card and it can help me draw pieces that I need. That's mainly why I run it, and also pieces.
All right.
That's mainly run.
Good to know. Good to know. But yeah, thank you so much for the deck profile. Thank you for the strong message. Definitely something to keep in mind going into these tournaments. Have that strong mental fortitude, because man, I've seen a lot of people lose just from tilting a little bit. So thank you so much for that. Is there any last minute words you want to say to everybody? Maybe some fans you have?
I don't know. Pelmoon? Come on, like Pelmoon players don't give up, even though if it's not the meta. Just play with the deck that you love, especially just play with the deck you love. I mean, like I said, this is my second main clan versus Link Joker. Of course, always. It's always gonna be Link Joker.
Nice.
But yeah, I mean, if I can win top 2 with this deck, then anybody can win it with any other deck. I mean, y'all look at Yasui, man. That's a rogue deck. Not many people thought Yasui made it up. He made it up.
That was crazy that he made it all the way.
He made it up for it, and not many people believe it. I mean, like, see, it can happen. Any type of deck that's not meta, it can still win. Like, that's the thing, you know.
You're right. Well, thank you again, Gloria. Guys, please like, subscribe, put any questions or any comments you want in the comment section down below. Gloria does read the comments as well, so any questions you guys have, she'll definitely take time to answer those. Any suggestions, she's definitely open to suggestions like the rest of us. So don't be afraid, don't be nervous. She doesn't bite, I promise.
No.
But with that being said, guys, thank you so much for watching this video on our channel. Again, hit that subscribe button if you want more content like this. Thank you so much again, Gloria.